Hi everyone, it's Michelle Wilding from Boozy Bakers, and I am going to be making some pizzas with you this afternoon. So back for another lovely afternoon of baking with you guys. I will wait to get everyone logged on, but feel free to say hello. I'm going to be taking your comments and I'll read them out. I'll answer any questions, so don't be afraid to ask away as we bake pizzas today. If you've got in with the kids, this is going to be the best dinner for them. And also, feel free to plonk them in front. You get a cup of tea and let them do the hard work, because this is kid-friendly too. So don't be afraid to get them involved and put them in front of the computer, put the ingredients near them, and they can bake their own pizzas. They'll be mega pleased with themselves. So do get everyone involved. It's a fun one, this. I'll give you all a few minutes. If you are ready to go and you're baking along with me, I will give you the oven temperatures now, and I will repeat them, I promise. You're going to want the oven to be 200 degrees Celsius, 180 for fan, or gas mark 6. So we'll just hang on a minute and let you guys get ready. There's not too much ingredients on this one. Hi Irene, nice to have you with us. Yeah, there's not too many ingredients, and it really is, you can do whatever you want with this pizza in terms of toppings. Hi Yvonne. Yeah, so I've gone for chorizo and some cheese, and I happen to have some mozzarella that needs using up, so I'm going to pop some of that on top. But you can use anything. If you've had a roast chicken dinner or something over the weekend and you've got some leftover chicken, pop that on with a few extra mushrooms. Whatever you've got in the fridge that you can pop on. I like roasting up vegetables, and that is one of my favourite pizzas. So if I happen to have some, that goes on. Or a bit of ham, or just make it cheese. Nothing wrong with just a cheese pizza, is there? So I don't know if you've seen the message from Virtual Village Hall pop up, that there has been a fake account for Virtual Village Hall going around. If you are sent a friend request, please ignore it. It's not them. So make sure that you don't respond. Yvonne said, I have a friend who does her pizza bases with cauliflower. Yeah, I've tried that before and it's quite good. I do like cauliflower for that, and it's a good alternative, isn't it? I've gone for an easy bread base, but when I say bread, it's not with yeast today, so we don't have to worry about proving times or anything like that. This is another, I don't know if you joined us yesterday, then you will have seen, oops, sorry, so sorry. Wasn't expecting that. Let's cancel that and close that down. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I did the beetroot and chocolate cake yesterday, and that wasn't very long for a cake. And this certainly, for a meal, isn't very long either. So a really good one to do for dinners and to use up things of the fridge. Just try and turn off my phone, power off. There we go. Don't want that going off again, do we, guys? Excellent. Right, Linda, afternoon. Hi, Bridget. Excellent. Let's get going then. So I'll give you the oven temperatures again. I've preheated to, you want 200 degrees Celsius, 180 for fan, or gas mark 6. So get those on if you're baking this to pop in straight away. And then, as I said, we're not using, although it's like a dough, we're not using bread flour, we're using plain flour on this, and there's no yeast. So it's a nice, easy, quick dough to make for a pizza base. So I've got in this bowl 335 grams of plain flour. So if you want to weigh out your flour, 335 grams. There it is. Don't worry about sieving. You can just pop that in. And then to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. There we go. And I'm just going to give that, and I'll do a bit of salt as well for a bit of flavour. So you want a teaspoon of salt. Now this will make you one 12-inch pizza or 2 8-inch. So if you don't want too much pizza, you could do a half mix. Although to be honest, this pizza does really well as leftovers the next day. Just heat them up either in the microwave or the oven, and they're rather delicious. So I would go the whole lot, and then you've got extras. If you're doing this and you know, with a partner or kids, and they've got different tastes, then either make a big pizza and do different toppings, or obviously you can make smaller pizzas, whatever you prefer. So that is 335 grams of plain flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. And I've just given that a quick mix up just so that all my dry ingredients is combined. Now to that, I'm adding 190 ml of water. Now it can be any temperature water because we're not using yeast, so we're not trying to get it to a particular temperature. So just straight from the tap, 190 ml of water. And my last ingredient, and I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, please tell me to slow down if you need me to. Otherwise I will repeat, promise, is a tablespoon of olive oil. There we go. And then you want to just give that a really good mix up. So all flours are a little bit different in absorbency. What you're looking for is a dough that kind of brings itself into a nice ball and isn't too sticky. You want to be able to handle it without getting into a sticky mess. So give it a mix, and then we'll see where we are. If you need to put a bit more liquid in, you can. And if you want to put, if you need to put a bit more flour in, you can. But this is a fantastic, unless you want to do something a bit different and, you know, use a bit of pita bread as a base instead. This is a really nice, easy dough to use for a pizza base. There's no kind of proving or pre-cooking. It's just, that's it. This is it. We're just going to roll it out in a minute. How big a pizza are you aiming for? Like huge family size or just for 2? Right, so it's a 12-inch or 2 8-inches. So it is a family size pizza, but I suppose it depends how you're eating it. I mean, this is a thin crust. You're not going to be making something with a very, very heavy base to have, you know, you could make it smaller, but it'll be a thicker base. I tend to do a thin base, which is why it gets to the 12 inches. So make it as you like. If you don't want to make that, you could put half your dough in the fridge, put it in some cling film or a Ziploc bag, save it for another day. But that is up to you. As I said, it makes really good leftovers too. I'm just going to scrape down my bowl and see how this looks. Scrape down my spoon even. There we go. So I'm just going to push. I'm not needing to knead the dough because it's not got the yeast in it, but I just want to bring it into a nice ball. It feels ever so slightly sticky, as you can see on my hand, ever so slightly sticky, but not too bad. So you want a nice soft dough, and it's not particularly sticking to my hand. What I will be doing is popping some flour down on the work surface just to stop it from sticking to the worktop. So I'll just put a little bit extra down. So if we have any kids baking along today, do let me know. And remember, if you're baking these if you're making these pizzas, please do send in your photos to Virtual Village Hall. You can add them to the comments underneath, and you can share what you've made. So that's your dough. I've given that just a little knead, more just to bring it into a good ball of dough than anything else. As you can see, I've got the kind of bits at the back which are a little bit, you can see all the folds there, but it's very pliable, but it's not particularly sticking to my hand. So that's what you're looking for. A nice, see how my fingers can go in there and leave marks, but they're not coming out all sticky. So I'm going to repeat the ingredients again that went into that. So that is 335 grams of plain flour with 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. We gave that dry mix a bit of a mix up in the bowl, and then we added 190 ml of water and a tablespoon of olive oil, and just gave that a good mix together to make this nice dough. That's the dough. That's as much as you need to combine. What we're going to do now is roll this out. I'm going to make one longer, and you know what? This is ours, so you can make it as rustic looking as you want. I've got a long, what do you call it? Baking tray. So I'm going to make a bit more of a rectangular one, I think. We'll just see how it develops, really. I've put some parchment paper over the top of my baking tray so it doesn't stick. But just so you know, if you happen to have a pizza tray, you know, the round ones with all like the holes in the tray, which allows the air to kind of get underneath, they're really good for these, and you won't need baking paper for that. You can just put the dough straight on top. So if you have got a pizza tray, feel free to use that. But what you want to do is to start rolling your dough out. I'm just making sure that underneath my dough there is some flour, and if it gets sticky on top, I can use a bit of flour over my rolling pin, but it shouldn't stick. It might feel a bit stretchy, like it doesn't want to particularly roll out. Bear with it, it will go. I'm turning it round as well, just so I get a nice, actually I'm going for circular, aren't I, doing that? But that's fine. You don't need it to be perfectly circular or anything. It's as you like. It's your pizza. If you want to make it heart shape, you can. It will puff up a bit, so do make it thinner than you might consider it needs to be. And whatever you do, if you think I've done that, I'm well ahead of Michelle. What I would suggest is do not put any toppings on until you've transferred it to your tray, because what will happen is you'll put all the toppings on, and then you've got a bit of a sloppy pizza with lots of weight on it and extra kind of liquidy things that you're going to have to try and move. So the best thing is to roll out your dough and then put it on the tray and then decorate it. There we go, I'm getting there. It is going a bit more oval now. I'll just put a bit more in. I'll pull it up, there you go, you can see it there. So I've got one slightly smaller end than the other. I like this because to me, the way we eat these days, you know, when you go to a restaurant or something, you kind of, to me, I expect a bit of a more rustic looking pizza. I'm going to show you as well, if you want to make it a stuffed crust, I'll show you my little how-to on that. We make these as a family quite regularly. The kids love a pizza, and I've got to say, my son always makes the best looking ones, and he does, his look a bit like a pie actually. He does a stuffed crust, and at the end, all the filling inside just looks so delicious with this big rolled over crust. It does look amazing, but I do like a thin base myself. Right, there we go. That's my pizza base. So hopefully you'll have something like that. I'm going to transfer this onto my baking tray now. As you'll see, it doesn't quite fit, but don't worry, because we can make it stuffed crust and make it fit. So I'm going to put it on a bit better. There. And then I can do stuffed crust as well. Hopefully you're about there. I'm going to just bring the camera down a bit so you can see what I'm doing. In fact, I might be able to bring myself down as well. There we go. Chairs just slightly repositioned there. In fact, I might be able to do that as well. There we go. And then you can see me and the pizza as I decorate it. Now, I suggested either a passata or a tomato paste, whatever you prefer. I know my son really likes to use tomato paste because he's very into the kind of intense tomato flavour. I prefer something a bit lighter. So I've got a passata today, and I've got about 100 grams. But use as much or as little as you prefer. So I'm going to spoon on. I'm going to go for 3 spoonfuls there. That's a bit of a dessert spoon, a deep dessert spoon. And I'm just using the back of my spoon just to spread that passata around. So I'll see how that goes. Got kids with very different tastes. One's obsessed with tomatoes, and the other, unless it's in ketchup form, isn't particularly fussed by it. Please, if you have any questions at all, I know I'm chatting constantly, but do interrupt me with your comments. I'll happily answer your questions. Now, if you want a normal crust on a pizza, don't put your toppings all the way. Can you see how, here you can see better, I've left a gap, so that's for my crust. So that will just puff up, and then just under an inch, maybe an inch around, I've left through. If you want to do a stuffed crust, and I'll show you here, go all the way to the edge, and then you can roll it over. Now, you can either do a stuffed crust just with cheese, just with tomato, or you could add some cheese to that as well. So I know my son likes a stuffed crust. I know my daughter isn't that bothered. So to show you both ways, I'm going to do a bit of each on this pizza. So there we go. That's my tomato. As you can see, it doesn't cover everywhere. It's not thick. If you're using a tomato paste, you'll probably have a bit more coverage. There is a few areas that could do a little bit more, but not, it's about there. And then I'm going to add cheese. And again, I've gone for about 100 grams of cheddar cheese. And I'm going to sprinkle that all over where my tomato is. If it goes on the edges, don't worry too much. I've made homemade pizza before, but sometimes the base doesn't cook through, but the tops have cooked. Do you have any suggestions to avoid this, please? Yes, I do. If you try not to put too much liquidy bits on, so with your tomato, don't overly cake it if you struggle to get the base to cook. And it may be worth investing in a pizza tray and cook directly onto that without the baking paper, just because it allows the base to cook a bit better. So that's my advice as well. But hopefully, if your pizza base is thin enough, then it will cook through. I think that tends to be the bit I would go for, is just making sure you've got a thin enough base so it doesn't have to, or cook it for longer if needs be. Right. Just about there with my cheese. I'll show you what I've done. Let's see if I can bring this up a bit. See these sides that are flopping over? If you want to, you can just bring those in and roll it over to create a bit of a crust, like that. Got a bit of tomato on there, so I'm just going to take that off a bit. And I've got it on this side as well. So that's going to make my son very happy because he will leave the crusts otherwise. There we go. So just press it down, and that will create a nice... You can do that all the way around. I'm just trying to satisfy 2 different personalities here. So I've got the sides, just to bring it in to fit my tray. I've got a stuffed crust. And then the other sides here, I've just left open. Kate's put, hi Michelle, this has been my recipe for 50 years. Too lazy to make dough with yeast. I've always blind baked my base before decorating and have amazing pizzas. 20 years old, watching, pizza tray, which is 20 years old. I'm wondering if this has been wasting my time with the blind baking. Well, if you have found that blind baking, so blind baking is the process where before you put your toppings on, you pop the dough into the oven for a few minutes, just so that it starts to bake before you add everything else. Kate, if you do a particularly deep base pizza, then that might be a great idea, just to give it a chance to bake a bit longer. If you go for a thin base, particularly if you're using a pizza tray, I'd probably just go for it rather than blind baking. Maybe try it this time a bit differently and let us know how you get on and see what the difference is. So that's it. Now you can leave it like that or add extra toppings. So we've always got chorizo in the house because it's got loads and loads of flavour. Both kids love it and it's pretty cheap to buy. And it's got a good shelf life. So I tend to keep that as a bit of a staple for the kids. So I'm just adding some nice big slices of that. You can tear this up if you want to make it stretch a bit more. Let's add a bit there and a bit there. There we go. And then I've also got some mozzarella, so I'm going to add that. Another tip for you guys with your toppings, if you put loads of toppings on, like your meats or mushrooms or whatever, one thing I would suggest is keep a little bit of cheddar cheese back for sticking it all down. So leave a bit of grated cheese in the bowl, and then once you've got all your toppings on, sprinkle a bit of the grated cheese over the top, and that will melt and kind of fuse all your toppings together so they don't just fall off your pizza. Now this is me lazily cutting some mozzarella with a pair of scissors. Naughty me. But I'm just putting thin slices of mozzarella on top because I quite like that kind of stringy, melty cheese on a pizza. You can't beat it. She just puts, I use the frying pan method. Put the pizza in a hot frying pan to start and then finish off under a hot grill. There we go. I like all these different methods that people use. It's quite interesting, isn't it? I remember my dad doing, what was it, salmon, a whole salmon that he used to cook in the dishwasher because it steamed it. So I do love different methods. Yeah, okay, I read that one. And Kate, I look forward to hearing from you what you think. Right, I'm just doing some various wedges of mozzarella to put on this. Goodness me, the stringy cheesiness going on is going to be spectacular. There we go. You don't need to add chorizo. You don't need to add mozzarella. These are just things that I'm adding because I happen to have them in the pantry. But you go for whatever you have, whether that's leftover meat or a bit of onion. If you want to add some chili flakes to it, if you particularly like chili, you can. Whatever you've got. Now I'm going to put this in for 15 minutes and I'm going to chat to you in the hopes that by the time we finish chatting, I can bring this out and show you what it looks like. So, oh, and I did say, didn't I? The mozzarella will do a bit of a fusing for me, but if you've got some extra cheddar left in your bowl, just give it a sprinkle and that will keep your toppings glued. Right, 15 minutes in the oven. Let's have a go. Right, set the timer. There we go. So I'm going to bring this forward for a minute. There we go, so you can see me again. If you have any questions, whether it's pizza related or not, do let me know and we'll get that to bake. But I would suggest about 15 to 17 minutes for your pizza. You're really looking for those, the crust of the pizza to be golden brown. The cheese should be nice and melted with a bit of a golden like tint to it where it's been baking. So I'm just going to clear a little bit so I can pop my wooden platter in front of me, ready for the pizza to come out. There we go. Bridget said she's using mushroom, tomato, bacon, and pepper. That sounds good. I do. Yeah, let me know. Is anyone using pineapple, or is that a forbidden subject? I do like fish pizzas, and I like roasted veg pizzas. Have you done many of these live cooking events? So with Virtual Village Hall, we've done quite a few now. We also run Boozy Bakers, and we do workshops most weekends. We're having break this weekend because it's my birthday, so we're having a barbecue instead. But we also have a YouTube channel filled with workshops that you can follow at Boozy Bakers on YouTube. What temperature for the oven? The oven is at 200 degrees Celsius, or 180 for fan, or gas mark 6. So mine's on 180 as it's a fan oven, and about 15, thank you, Catherine, about 15 to 17 minutes. So I'm going to leave it in, and then I can show you and bring it out in a minute. Barbara's put never pineapple. Well, you know, I quite like a ham and pineapple pizza. Sorry, I know I'm a pain. Kate puts, I add a spoon of sweet chili sauce to my passata base. Also, finely chopped onion in the grated cheese. I've always put the cheese on top. Learning something. I've always put the cheese on top. Learning something new today. Happy birthday. Catherine said that she likes to fold it over and make a calzone. That sounds like a good idea. My son would probably like to do that, actually. And Sylvia's put, I didn't know you did workshops. I'd love to do a joint workshop with my young son. He loves cooking. Yeah. So do have a look. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Yeah, we've done all sorts. I mean, this week is Healthy Living Week. So we've done the beetroot and chocolate cake, which you can, along with all the other bakes that have been going on and in the cooking in the kitchens on Virtual Village Hall, you can catch up with that. And then you've also, on our site, I mean, we've done all sorts from pizza and pasta and bread to biscuits and cakes and everything in between. We've done Jaffa cakes recently and custard creams, which have gone down very well. Apparently there was, what was it? They were saying there was a shortage of custard creams, so we sorted that. So yeah, we do lots of them. Occasionally the kids will join me on them. It tends to be when they are mega hungry, or they know it's a really quick one and they get something. They're at school at the moment, they're doing clubs, so I guarantee they will come in and take this pizza off me within seconds. Oh my God, it's amazing. I look forward to it each week. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I don't know what we're going to be doing next. We've also, because it's the Healthy Living Week, do go back and have a look at 3 bean chili that we made with Virtual Village Hall, because that's another really good one. It's vegetarian as well, so it's just full of goodness. So do have a look for those. But we're always coming up with new ideas. I think Portuguese tarts are going to be coming up soon. I think that would be a good workshop to do. Always thinking of new things to bake and things that can be done within a quick amount of time. I've realised my style of baking is very much, it has to be quick or there has to be a cheat. It has to have one of those because I'm too impatient and I like the eating as much as I like the baking. So, yeah, has anyone used pineapple, or is that just an absolute no? Heather's put that she's going to look up the 3 bean chili. Yeah, do, it's really yummy. Yvonne, I keep freezing. Have you tried the chocolate pizza? I think it will be on the chocolate. Well, no, I haven't tried to make a chocolate pizza, but I have eaten a chocolate pizza and it was delicious. I think you'd be all right if you keep it at a low temperature. Maybe I'd have to practice. It's only in for 15 minutes. Maybe bake the base on that one and then add the chocolate. I don't know. Could do with banana as well, couldn't you? A bit of mascarpone or something. I don't know. If you do it, let me know. That does sound a bit yummy. I like, whenever I go through the fridge and anything that needs using up, like if I've got red peppers and they're starting to look a bit like no one's ever going to touch them, I tend to put them on the griddle and kind of, sear them a bit. And the same with anything like butternut squash. I tend to roast it. If it's just been hanging around and nothing's happening with it, I tend to chop it all up and roast it, and then keep those bits of like antipasti in the fridge. And then I can add that to any salad or a pizza or even a burger or something. I do like making a homemade burger. So I try not to waste food. So I always try and keep a few staples that have a long shelf life, or cook things up that are going over and then use it in a way that you don't. It's like tomatoes that are going a bit squidgy and a bit wrinkled. Pop them into a sauce of something and get them used up. How long have we got left? We've got 9 minutes. That's not long. How many other pizzas have we got in the oven? Have we got lots in there? And who's sharing their pizzas, or who's just going to enjoy it by themselves? I think mine will be taken away from me before I can enjoy it. But we will see. Just looking through your comments, I think I've answered them all. Yeah, it's birthday weekend galore this weekend, because it's my daughter's birthday on Friday and then it's my birthday on Saturday. And she's determined she's going to make me a birthday cake. But that is a lot of cake over 2 days. And I've got to secretly make her a cake, which actually isn't too difficult, given that I bake birthday cakes all the time, because I could make one in front of her and just tell her it's for someone else. But I'm thinking about making a llama cake with a piñata-y type birthday hat that she would smash it with Smarties underneath or something. That I've got to do. So there's a few other birthday cakes this week. I think everyone's enjoying the weather at the moment, and everything that they can do in the garden. I know I am. So yeah, but we're having a barbecue, I think, on Saturday, and a family round in the garden, which is so nice to be able to have a family round to enjoy a bit of time together. So very much looking forward to that. And then I think I need to start putting on some recipes for other workshops. I think Viennese wines and Portuguese tarts, that's definitely the way to go. But if you do want to find out more about Boozy Bakers, do jump onto YouTube and you will find quite a few of our workshops. And then we go live most Saturdays. It's just, I think, with Easter and birthdays, I've missed a couple, or will be missing a couple. But we're usually every Saturday. I have done since the start of lockdown, really, a bit like Virtual Village Halls have kind of, tried to meet the needs of people and keeping you all entertained, and lots of lovely activities to follow during lockdown. Catherine said, love a Viennese well. I do too. It's been ages since I've made them as well. Kate said it's a little chilly in Scotland to be in the garden. Oh man, Kate. Yeah, well, we did have, it was a bit cold through the Easter holidays. It was kind of dropped in temperature, but this week, I don't know about anyone else, but I look on Facebook Memories and it tells you what you were doing like this time last year, and the kids were in swimming costumes and sprinklers on. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting there. So I have got some, just thinking ahead, some no-bake recipes as well. So we don't, when it gets really hot, we don't have to stick the oven on. Debbie's put, I need to make a skateboard cake. Any ideas on your website? No, but I can give you some ideas. If I were you, I would probably raise your board and make some wheels. You know what, you could actually make it that it works. If you happen to have a child with some, what do you call it, connects, or anything with wheels, maybe put that underneath your baking board and then do a tray bake on top and shape it all. That's probably what I would do. That sounds fun though. I would actually try and make it that the wheels turn underneath, get a bit of connects together, and then put the cake board on top. Maz has put, love Portuguese custard tarts. Yeah, me too. Samson Dyler, your Boozy Baker's lime streams have been great. Still following your scone recipe. Look forward to watching and making more. Excellent. Well, it's the weather for it, isn't it? Have you done cheese as well as sweet, or have you just done the sweet scone so far? And Debbie's put, in Sussex, sat in the summer house. Debbie, that sounds very, very civilised. That sounds like we should all be doing something like that. I've got to say, my little garden has a bit of a sun trap at the moment. So it's either shaded or kind of scorching sun for an hour before it goes in. So I'll try and get out there in that hour. Sam says, did cheese first and plain? Yeah, I do. I love a cheese scone. I think it's if you like something for your lunch rather than a sandwich, a cheese scone is the way to go. I do think with a bit of salad on the side, a bit of ploughman's, cheese scone is pretty delicious. Got 4 minutes left. I'm going to just quickly check it because I'm a bit nosy. Ooh, it's looking pretty good. The mozzarella just needs to brown up a little bit, but I'll be able to show you very shortly what it looks like. And do remember, if you've made this or if you make it in the future, just pop a photo underneath. It's really nice to share what you've made. I know whenever we've done workshops, we got people sending their photos. And it's just lovely to bake together, even if it is away and online. I think the sense of community that these workshops bring are good fun. So do share what you've done. I've got to say, as much as I do love doing these workshops, I'm hoping we get to a point that I can do some live demonstrations. That would be lovely to do. But fingers crossed soon, not too long in the future, is it? What else can I tell you? Anything else about the pizzas? I think the idea of the calzone that Catherine said was quite a nice idea. Oh, Yvonne says chocolate chip scones, yummy. Oh, yeah, and you know what else is nice? I know this is not healthy living. They're going to have to edit this bit out. Fudge, little pieces of fudge, really good. And I don't know if anyone made, I know it's a bit past Easter, but hot cross buns. They're rather yummy with chocolate chips in too. This is very naughty. I need to tell you something healthy to make. We have got a pasta recipe for homemade pasta. So check that one out. And we have done various bread recipes. My favourite is olives bread. That's not too bad, is it? Olives in bread. That's quite healthy. And for anyone that's looking for bread and they think, oh, you know what, I haven't got it. I haven't got any bread flour or yeast. I've also done a soda bread recipe too. It doesn't last quite as long, but it is yummy. So do go check out our YouTube channel, and also all the lovely workshops that Virtual Village Hall have. You can search them by type of live, and they've got a whole section for cooking. And I know you've had some wonderful chefs on here this week. So I hope your kitchens, if you've joined in on a lot of them, they must be like, you must have the most wonderful smells and amazing meals that you've been preparing this week. What has been your favourite? Would love to know. If you've done a particular recipe that you think, yes, that's the one. I think I've still been baking a lot of people's orders, but the chocolate and beetroot cake has gone down quite well. In fact, I've not got very much left of it. And it wasn't all me. I think everyone else has been doing quite a few. I'm going to get the board out so I can show you what this pizza looks like. Hopefully your alarms on your ovens will go off soon and you'll have your pizzas. I mean, use pizza out of the oven, isn't it? Be careful, don't burn yourselves, but obviously they can be eaten straight away. And as I said, if you can't manage it all, which my daughter tends to make a massive one and then can't manage it, just leave it to cool, and then you can wrap it up, put it in the fridge, and then eat it again later. Or take it on a picnic. Right, I'm beeping. Let's get this out. Oh my goodness. It is a bit of a cheesy fest, this one. Hang on, let me see if I can you see that? all the mozzarella on that. It looks rather delicious. The sides, I've got a bit of brown sides. It might need a couple more minutes actually. Just looking at the edges, they're not quite as browned. So I'm going to put that in for a couple more minutes. So don't be afraid to do the same. The great thing about pizza is you can take it out of the oven and then think, you know what, that needs a couple more minutes. And it's not like a cake, it's not going to sink or anything because you've taken it out. So just have a look. If it looks a bit anemic, if it looks a bit pale on the crust, just give it a couple more minutes. Kate says she loves cold pizza. Me too. I do. And I don't know what it is, but just reheating a bit of pizza, it's got just a slightly different taste to it that I really like. I don't know what it is, but I just love it. And you could wrap it up if you do school lunches or anything. You can wrap up a slice of pizza quite easily and the kids will love it. Maggie says, that looks so tasty. I've got to say, it smells amazing. Because I thought I'd give it another couple of minutes and make sure it's nice. As we said about the base, you just want to make sure that that base is cooked, and where it looks slightly pale, I would just rather give it a couple more minutes in the oven. Because the top, I mean, it's covered with mozzarella. I mean, a lot of mozzarella. I probably went a bit over the top on that. So I don't expect that to brown up so much as cheddar cheese. That should look a little bit more browned or caramelized, if you like. But it can certainly take a bit more time in the oven. So I'll give it that time just to make sure that the base is done. But I do look forward to hearing how yours go. And as I said, my kids will be home in about 10-15 minutes, I would imagine. And I'm sure they will like to dig into this with a bit of salad on the side. It's the other thing I quite like to do, get a bit of rocket and sprinkle that onto a pizza. I quite like the different texture and tastes. That's always quite nice. But that's it really. I'll give it, we've got 1 minute and then I'll get it out and show you. In fact, look, it's beeping already. Oh, you know what? That's perfect because, let's have a look. That's great because, as I said, the mozzarella was still a little bit pale as well. And just that extra couple of minutes, I'll tilt it. Oh, that extra couple of minutes has given the mozzarella a bit more colour. So I'll bring that up so you can see. There you go. Not a fan of mozzarella, so I've mixed 3 hard cheeses, says Kate. That's no problem at all. Any kind of cheese. I say cheddar's obviously quite good, but just a mixture of cheeses on top is always good. I just want you to be able to see the pizza without the paper being in the way. There you go. So a nice big pizza there. Yvonne says, if you froze the pizza, how long would it last? Well, I have tried it, Yvonne. I wonder whether you'd be better off freezing it before baking it rather than freezing it cooked. Don't know. I haven't tried that. You probably could. I'd have to Google it in all honesty. I'd probably just put it in the fridge. It depends. I just can't think. You don't tend to cook pizza you don't tend to freeze it from cooked. So I'd probably say, if you haven't already done it, either make half the amount if you don't want all the pizza. I make half the amount of dough and then put half the amount of toppings on. Or I would probably make it up and then freeze it before you bake it. And then I would probably keep it in the freezer for up to a month. But just make sure it's nicely sealed and packaged. And then, bring it out like you would a takeaway pizza. Just give it a few more minutes when you're cooking from frozen. Heather said, thank you. You're very welcome, Heather. Enjoy making it. Cakes, but wouldn't last long enough to be frozen in my house. I think that's the problem. I think I do live with mega eaters in my house. So usually when someone says, how long will that last? I kind of have to really think about it because they get eaten really fast. So that's us for this week. I hope you've enjoyed baking with us yesterday and today. And hopefully we'll be back on here or come over and have a look at what we're doing on Boozy Bakers and enjoy baking. Have fun and share your photos. But otherwise, enjoy your evening, guys. Okay, take care. Bye.